Okay. What did we learn from audience research or feedback?
Well, obviously one of the major things of our audience feedback would be that
People were they were questioning quite a lot.
yeah, people questioned a lot of it. Like a lot of the major feedback was, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, especially after the first time you watched it, because it does require a lot of attention to detail. You have to kind of be active from the outset and throughout, or you won't understand the gist of the film. So a lot of the feedback we got the first time of people watching it, they were coming up with like things of how did he die, or was he poisoned, or like, because they didn't understand it straight away. And like, okay, once we told them what the kind of plot of it was, we didn't tell them exactly where to look to find like the clues, because a lot of the clues of the thing are very subtle. And once we told them and they watched it, they were able to piece it together and they found out what it was about. And then the feedback we got was mostly positive, that it was done very well. Like, you wouldn't notice it if you never watched it twice or anything like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of it. It was quite well executed.
Yeah.
And I quite like that there were, instead of people saying, oh, I don't know what was this shot about, or I didn't like this or that, their first thing was to ask questions like what actually happened. It just shows like how interested they were in what happened to dear old William here. I like that. It showed that our film executed well with that. That they were just asking questions, wanting to know more, as if they wanted like a sequel or like an explanation on what happened. It sparked interest, which is the key thing.
Like, one thing I was sort of worried about, in a sense, that we were going to get from audience feedback, is that people were going to be like, is it incomplete? Is it not complete? Or anything like that? Because, okay, the way it ended is everything we'd done was exactly kind of how we wanted it to be. But like, I was thinking people were going to watch it and be like, oh, is it incomplete? Like, because this and this doesn't make sense and stuff like that. But whereas everyone was able to kind of connect to it and understand what was happening, like, once they knew what it was about. So, with a sense that
the first viewing, they were quite unsure on what was happening. Like,
kind of unsure.
One of them was like one of our feedback.
Yeah,
people watched it were like kept pointing out stuff like, oh, that's a continuity error, or this is continuity error. And after he watched it a second time, he realised that it wasn't actually continuity error, that it was part of the film. That it was intended.
Meant to be like that. Like, we got many, like, what was a good thing is that, like, we got many interpretations of like what the film was about. So we were kind of able to kind of create this big web of like alternate endings and alternate theories of our film, of like people understood our film in many different ways, which was quite good. It showed that everyone actually connected to it, but in their own way, like individually, which was quite a big thing from audience feedback. Like, everyone who watched it, not everyone had like the same views. Most people had a different view of how they saw it, which was really good, which is exactly what we wanted from audience feedback. So it's like none of the feedback we got was the same all the time. Yeah. Which really helped with like the development of the film. Yeah, that
showed our intent was that to sort of have different people's interpretations. That just shows that execution. And that shows that I guess we learned that we did it right. If people can come up with we could base 4 or 5 different films of just the endings that people have given us that they thought have happened, or they thought it was happening throughout. And it just shows like the depth and things like that, and it really helps us understand how the audience does actually, how the audience does react to the film.
Like, I felt it really did have a lot of like a experimental side to it, in a sense that, like, when people watched it, in the sense of like a social experiment, it showed that not everyone's the same. Like, everyone has although people wake up and they go to work and do the same thing every day, deep down everyone kind of had like a different imagination of how they perceive things, which was quite good that we got from the audience feedback. Because it was like, when we showed it to people, they watched it the first time, like, you see on top of it, like the first layer of the film is just, okay, a guy wakes up, does his day-to-day stuff, and then sees himself dead. That's like the first layer of it. And then when people watch it a second time, that's when like majority of the questions started to appear. Like once they knew, it was like, oh, did he die, or did he die this way, or was it actually his soul, or is he a twin, and stuff like that. And we had this whole like paradox of like past, present, and future that people were coming up to us and telling us, and it was quite nice to have people. It was like our kind of film created this forum where people would like have their own ideas of how the film ended, and it was just like, it was good feedback because they were telling us stuff that we didn't even notice in our own film, and it was just like, it's like we did it kind of subconsciously, which is really nice. But it was just like people were telling us and coming up to us with their like ideas of how it ended and how it started as well. Like people come up with these theories and tell us, and it's like, in the end, we don't know how it ends ourselves, so it's down to your imagination to finish it off. So the ending's whatever you want it to be, and I think that's one thing we got out of the audience, which was quite good, especially out of the audience feedback. Yeah.